Hi everyone, my name is TJ Forsythe and I'm a Business Solutions Executive here at Ironsides Technology. This video has been put together today to help describe how our core product, APT, which stands for Automated Production Tracking, helps our customers get real-time visibility to their work in process through a various means of methodology of data collection, as well as providing standard, open, and robust reporting to help you measure your productivity and other key aspects of the business. Now, to level set, one of the biggest misnomers that I hear in the marketplace is that Ironsides technology can only support the transactional space. So if I don't need piece level tracking, or if I don't need cameras, I don't really need to be talking to Ironsides technology. Well, it's actually quite the contrary. We have a solution that fits the bookmaking, the commercial print, the direct mail, the publishing market, all that uses our core technology to consolidate information on the production floor and provide that true command and control center. So I wanted to get that out there before I go into the video, because many times we are tied directly to the transactional market, and that's just not the case. So through my various conversations and on-site assessments with customers across a wide range of industries, there are some common challenges that I see as it relates to production visibility. I see quite a bit that there's very manual processes as it relates to getting real-time production updates. So, and frankly, they're not real-time. So I see spreadsheets, I see job boards, I see production control teams that are manually getting updates by walking out to each station, logging down what's going on, taking them back to a spreadsheet, updating that into a database, like Groundhog Day. Hour after hour, shift after shift, day after day, and that's a very, very manual process. We also hear quite a bit that work falls into a black hole. So we see this a lot in the commercial print and direct mail market, where the questions are, where are my jobs? What's currently processing at a particular machine? What's my expected completion time of this job? And at the same time, understanding, am I on track based upon all the jobs I have in all these different departments to be able to fulfill my service level agreements? In addition to the things I mentioned above, we also see that there's a lot of vendors inside of each one of our customers. So there's some very, very good pieces of hardware out there from a print, bindery, insertion standpoint. And one of the challenges you see that there's really a lack of synergy between departments. The right doesn't know the left. The bindery department doesn't know what's the status of the printing process, and they've staffed for their department assuming a job is going to be completed at a certain time. So there's no holistic view of the operation. And at the same time, when the work is processing, customers have a very difficult time automatically reporting and getting the historical and real-time data to measure their productivity and their rates versus their established standards. So outside of labor and outside of consumables and materials, you have labor and cost, which is all tied together to provide an estimate to your customers so you can process this work efficiently within the time frame that you need to in order to make the money and hit the price point you need to acquire that work. So it's very important to be able to continuously measure yourself and make sure that you're on track from a productivity standpoint. The ability to access your production remotely. So I'm actually producing this video during the COVID-19 situation. So we're in a work from home situation. Many of my customers are in a work from home situation. Non-essential employees are working from home, and they still have operators and staff that are there running the machines, getting the orders out, making sure that things are moving through the plant. So by having a tool like Ironsides, you can actually access your production in real time and know exactly who is doing what and get all the information that you need to ensure that the business is running appropriately. To set the stage of what Ironsides looks like in these environments, I have this diagram here. So we really want to be your GPS system. We want to be your eyes and ears. We want to be your air traffic controller. So how does that work? inside of a particular customer. So first and foremost, we get a control file that's submitted from either an MIS system or a file management system. There's a lot of different ways that we get these files in a very efficient manner. It's really industry standard process. And as that work comes into our server, we're then leveraging our multiple connectors to collect the activity from each one of the devices across your operation, which then drive the reporting portals, the dashboarding, the SLA manager, a device monitor, all stuff that you'll see as I go through this. But we have a wide variety of means of collecting data from the floor. So I'm sure that's a question that you have is, this sounds great, but how would it work in my environment? Well, there's a lot of different ways to go and get data. So from a print standpoint, when you talk about digital presses and some of the inkjet technology, APIs, JDF, JMF, SNMP, IPP, log files, analog counting devices are all means of getting that data on the floor. We don't look to disrupt what the operator is doing, and we don't want to add any additional functions to what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So we look to collect this data in an automated format so they know that they can focus on loading the machines, doing their quality measurements, and allow the software in the background to track their activity. As you move into the bindery and the finishing environment, that's where we start to leverage things like analog counting devices and log file transfers, which you can see the analog counting devices here on the right. We essentially can put these pieces of equipment in to track sheets, to track gears on particular pieces of equipment, so you get much better insight versus, hey, I know John Smith started the inkjet job at 11:55 a.m., but I have no idea how much is done. I have no idea how much is left. I just know that he's running the job. Well, we're actually going to give you that real-time intuitiveness to understand inside of what he's doing, how much is that person getting off per hour, how much is left to complete the job. So we follow this methodology across bindery and the insertion environment. So whether that be counting devices, whether that be cameras, whether that be log files, the net result is we go out and touch all of your pieces of equipment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pivot over to our central command and control dashboard. So I want you to look at this as if we've already sat down with you, we've already established our connection points, and this is the net result of what you get as a customer. You can see that this central dashboard has a lot of different buttons, so I'll briefly go through step by step each one of these functions so you can see the value that it'll provide you. From a device monitor standpoint, we're able to tell you who is running what piece of equipment, what job is at that piece of equipment, what's the percentage completion of that job, what's the estimated time that this job is going to be completed. You can take a job and spread it across multiple devices. We understand inside of a print room you may have one operator running 3 different pieces of equipment. The software has been built to accommodate all these situations. Now you can have this view from a single facility standpoint, and you can also have this view from an enterprise standpoint. You can have as many users that you want to have access to the system as you want. We have your traditional software hierarchy of rights of administrators, operators, managers, all that have different functions of what they can and can't do and what they can and can't see inside of the software. Our views can be customizable down to the user level, so if you want to see what's going on in a particular department, you get to decide what you want to view within your particular dashboard. That's all customizable down to you. So this is really what our customers have up on their TV screens from a job board standpoint to make sure that the wheels are turning at the devices. In addition to the device monitor, we also provide an SLA monitor. So I mentioned, again, we get that control file, and we understand all the jobs that are in the shop. We understand what their production deadline is. We know what stages of production they're supposed to go through. And this job board is constantly updating real time as we're collecting the activity from the devices. So if a job goes past due, We're going to put that into a red status. We're also going to send alerts off depending upon who you want to receive those alerts, letting you know, hey, you've missed your deadline. You need to go and take some action to this. At the same time, if a job is in jeopardy of being past due, based upon what we're seeing from an activity standpoint, we're going to put that into a gold status here. Also send an alert off so you can take the appropriate action. This view in terms of what columns you want to see within the SLA monitor, that's totally customizable down to you. I have some customers that like it very, very detailed. I have other customers that like it very straightforward. So that's all customizable down to you. You can group and view by specific accounts. It's very easy to do so, but I think it's just important that as jobs are completed, they naturally fall off the job board. But these are constantly updating real time as we're collecting the information from the floor. In addition, you can also see what is going on in each one of your particular departments. So, what's actively running, what's in the finishing department, what's in the insertion department. Maybe you're tracking shipping as well. But what this does is it also gives you a departmental view of not just what's actively running, but what's also in the queue to be ran, and how they're doing versus those service level agreements. So outside of the visibility, there's also probably the question of, well, how do you go and get this data? Well, it's very easy. So what you're looking at here is really envision, okay, the job is already printed because we're already using our automated data collector, but now I've sent the job to an offline inkjet device. I have an analog counter there. What the operator will simply do is they will either enter the job ID or they will scan a work order barcode that we work with you on to open up that job. And then as the job continues to process, the analog counting device is either capturing a leading edge or a gear, however we deem to get the data, and it's now updating the piece status real time. So I've seen 1,077 pieces go through. I know all of the working time, and this then also drives back into the dashboard that you can see from real-time updating standpoint. So we've built this so it's very non-intrusive to the operator, and it's very easy for them to continuously be efficient, because that's frankly what's most important. You don't want to deploy a solution that's going to slow you down, and this is why we think the automated data collection function is important. So there's also some reporting and functionality, and I'm not going to go through every report, but I'm just going to highlight some of the reports that our customers use when they manage work in process and need that real-time visibility. So I have some customers that say, let's take a look at the open jobs report. Here are all the jobs that are open in my system right now. It's just loading real quick because I run my server as I run my laptop as a server. But you can see all the jobs that are open inside of my system today. What's the percentage complete? What's the last operator who touched it? At the same time, you can then automatically distribute emails out of our system at any frequency to whoever you want. So if you would want this email to go to your production supervisors at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you're able to do that very, very easy and provide it in the format you need to. At the same time, at the click of a button, you can say, okay, I'd like to understand what's going on in the insertion department right now in real time. Well, here are the two jobs that are running in insertion. Here's the progress percentage. Here's who's running the piece of equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So there's immediate views to what's going on inside of the operation from a reporting standpoint, as well as from a dashboarding standpoint. We also have, I talked about productivity and why this is important, so you can continuously measure yourself versus your rates and your standards. So just as an example, if you want to take a look at a production throughput report, you can take a look by day, how many jobs processed, how many pieces went through, what's the total pieces that have passed through this pieces of equipment. You can drill down by particular production line. You can also take a look at particular rates, so you can start to see I'm expecting to get this many pieces off the piece of equipment per day. And again, when we set the software up, you tell us, are you an 8x5 shop? Are you a 24x7 shop? But it tells you how much actual utilization you got off this particular device today. And that's important as you continuously evaluate what work you can take on, and purchasing new equipment, etc. And we measure this productivity at the operator level, at the device level, at the shift level, and at the plant level, across the print environment, the bindery environment, insertion department, so you have all this information consolidated. So no longer do you need to go and do manual reporting. No longer do you have 6 different systems associated to your reporting. It's all within this portal. You get that real-time visibility, you get that SLA management, you get departmental view, and you get some standard reporting. In addition, we also have a Job Explorer functionality, which I've highlighted in some of my other videos, so I'll only spend a few seconds on it, but essentially gives you the capability to slice and dice information inside of our database. So it's going to tell you every detail of your job from a historical perspective, so you can start to export some reports and provide those to executive management. This information is all also stored within our database, so we have many customers that say, I'd like to take the statusing that you have and provide that to my end customer. Well, getting into our database and getting that information to be able to complement either a corporate reporting tool or maybe a customer-facing tool that you have, we have a lot of customers that do that all the time. So really the net result of what you get from Ironsides APT as it relates to real-time visibility and productivity reporting is we certainly can leverage your existing equipment no matter what the vendor. You'll get a central command and control dashboard that'll provide you the capability to get remote and off-hours access to what's going on in production, all in real time, to give you that insight and visibility. It's going to automate your means of collecting data on the floor while eliminating the logging and spreadsheets and paperwork. I walk through some of the productivity and organizational reporting that you get to understand how you're performing versus your standards. We're going to help you measure your capacity and utilization, identify bottlenecks and operational deficiency. And by doing this, you're going to reduce your labor and your overtime costs because you're going to have a tighter grip on what you're doing. You're going to know that your rates are accurate. You're going to know who your top operators are. You're going to continuously be able to manage yourself to a standard and roll that into your production platform. It's going to allow your management and production control team to be strategic. So one of the things that I see in the marketplace is there's very, very talented people that are very caught up in just getting updates, right? Constantly manually producing reports. But they can't even put their brains at work of how they can become more efficient. Well, now the software is going to do that work for you so you can be more strategic and implement some of the initiatives you want. The open database I discussed, so again, any information that we collect and any statusing we collect can be shared with third-party systems. And the installation is very easy and non-intrusive. So it's very easy to get up and running with Ironsides APT. And the licensing we provide is perpetual, which can be transferred as equipment is decommissioned and replaced. So what I really wanted everyone to take away from this particular video is we're not just an organization or a product that supports transactional markets or only is trying to do piece-level tracking solutions. As you can see, there's a lot of value that we provide to customers that have the need for better visibility and better reporting, and we certainly can help you. So I look forward to chatting with anybody that wants to learn more about this, and I thank you very, very much for your time.